Why do we keep doing this? Why do we keep making the wrong people famous? Time and time again, it just feels like all the wrong people have the loudest platforms, have the loudest voices online, have the ability to influence millions. Well, the reason I'm saying that is because this just caught my attention. So, check this out. Jake Paul says he's planning to do a blackface skit in response to Drewski's viral skit. So, as you probably are aware, Drewski recently did a skit where he satirized conservative women. He dressed up as a person who looks strikingly similar to another very familiar face, Erica Kirk. And it went incredibly viral. Everyone was talking about it. MAGA lost their mind, right? Conservatives all over the internet were crying and belly aching about it, right? The people who said make comedy legal again fucking cried rivers of tears upon seeing the skit where Druski, made fun of conservative women. And as far as I can tell, he did it in as tasteful a way as you possibly can. He didn't even have to play it up. He didn't even have to ham it up. He literally just like a word for word, a bar for bar mimicked things that Erica Kirk has actually done and said. Yet, of course, you cannot make fun of blonde white women in America, especially conservative blonde white women in America, because that's the world we live in. Well, anyway, one of the biggest criticisms, one of the biggest talking points we heard from the right surrounding this skit was, of course, oh, but if we did blackface, what if we did blackface? They would have a problem. Man, the American education system truly has failed so many people. The fact that so many people don't understand why Druski putting on makeup and dressing up as a white woman is completely different than a white person doing blackface. The fact that people still don't understand this in 2026 is truly, truly depressing. Well, anyway, let's take a listen to this clip here. It appears as if Jake Paul went on Theo Von's podcast, and that's where he discussed his brilliant idea. Let's take a listen.
I want to ask you something because I've been over the last couple of days.
Notice the clearing of the throat. He's nervous, which means he's serious. This is not a joke here. Check this out.
I want to ask you something because I've been over the last couple of days.
He's wearing a fucking Richard Mille on his wrist, man. Is this not enough? Is it not enough to be Jake Paul, to be so incredibly rich and famous? Can't you just like fuck off and go just be wealthy in Puerto Rico? Okay, let's continue.
Days calling makeup artists, and I was gonna do a response to this and like go and do like the full on
darker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't they call it what it is? Why don't they call it what it is? Gonna do the full on darker? Mm-hmm. What? No, say what you're gonna do. I'm gonna do blackface
and do it and just do it back, because why not?
Do it back.
Yeah. Like, are we on
Theo Von? Fuck this guy, man.
Yeah.
the same playing field? Like
The same.
I think
playing
if
field.
there's a way to do it, singing in well, even this sentence. But if there's a way to do it, I've been here many times. If there's a way to,
I've been here many times. Many a times have I sat here and thought about how I would do blackface if given a chance. All these guys are the same, man.
do it, I think, yeah. I think there needs to be some black support for the character, I think. Like I'm saying, like say if Druski or I'm trying to think of somebody else.
Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley. If you got one of those guys to be like, hey, Theo, I want you to do this skit with me. Let's do this.
But still, that's pussying out.
You think it is?
Yeah.
To me, there's
Why is it pussying out? There are all kinds of white people. You ever think about that? Why is it that there were so many white people in Drewski's skit that didn't have a problem? It's because, one, the way how he did it, like I said, was incredibly tasteful. He didn't say anything bad about white people. He literally just mimicked Erica Kirk, right? Why is it now pussying out to involve black people? It's because he knows that it will be damn near impossible to get any even remotely respectable black person in the world of entertainment to co-sign this shit because of how nasty and egregious this is. We're going to explain why whiteface is not a thing and why a white person, especially someone as prominent and popular as Jake Paul doing blackface, is so wrong and so not the same as Druski doing his skit on Erica Kirk.
the level of like,
Doesn't that make us more like prejudice?
like more prejudice?
That makes us.
He can't even say words. This man is a couch chewer. Prejudice. He doesn't even know words.
If we have to partner with someone, Druski just dropped this.
And he's done it a couple of times,
Exactly.
actually.
I fucking love it. This is great. This is how humans should be.
I agree.
We should fucking make fun of each other. And I don't see in color, I see in truth and comedy. So
If
like
you don't see in color, why are you then making a skit based on race if you don't see color?
what are we talking about?
So you're saying that
What era are we living in?
dude, Justin Trudeau did, and he's freaking dating Katy Perry. You see that, Justin Trudeau, the mayor of freaking
I was
Canada?
just with
Yeah, and he got a lot of criticism for that and was called racist for doing it. It wasn't like black people were like, oh yeah, we loved when Justin Trudeau did it.
them. I was just with them.
No,
And
you were
he
not.
has apologized for it multiple times because he knows that he was wrong.
Yeah, at the JP Morgan summit.
He was B-facing. Look at him right there in the middle. Look at the one in the hat in the middle
he
lower.
got caught for this
Yeah, he's not proud of this moment.
before.
Yeah, look how dark he went. I mean, he went.
But to be fair, that picture's in black and white, so we can't tell how dark he went.
But that's fair. That's kind of fair. What about Jimmy Kimmel when he was blacking around over there? Bring that up, huh? Hey, look at him just blacking. I mean, look at that. Even the cross eyes.
That's Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
That's not Shaq.
That ain't fucking Shaq, dude. That.
Wow, man. Yeah, let's take a look at the Drewski skit one more time, just to refresh our memories exactly how offensive this skit was that has Jake Paul inspired and makes him want to, you know what I'm saying, makes him want to do blackface.
Get on your feet, boy!
War is
We all grieve differently, right?
raging in Iran.
We're praying for all the soldiers and troops.
That's great that you're praying, but
How about all the kids that died when the USA hit the towers?
It broke my heart.
In what ways have you grown closer to Jesus?
I serve a righteous God. And that is why we say our prayers. And we are all his children. But when I say children, I mean like the holy, blessed Trinity, which is why I hold the Bible.
Fucking nightmare fueled this shit, man.
Sweet cream foam chai ice.
Where's the offense here? What makes this skit funny, what irritates the conservatives who are crying about this shit, because they weren't mad about whiteface, okay? The problem isn't a guy wearing makeup to depict himself as another race. That is, if America didn't have the history that it has, if it wasn't for the blackface that was done in the past, if it wasn't for the systemic racism that is still a problem till this day, if it wasn't for all of the racism that is a problem in this country today and historically, this blackface wouldn't even be like a word in our lexicon. And white people would be able to dress up as black people. If black people had always had the same rights as white people in this country and were always treated fairly and equally, then you would be able to do this. It's not just because black people have a special privilege, okay? Right? So the offense isn't in just, oh, a guy put on makeup to look like another guy, right? If this was a white man that did this skit, where is the offense? All of the offense resides in the fact that this is barely a parody. All of the offense resides in the fact that Erica Kirk is fucking ridiculous and weird. And somebody holding up a mirror to this ridiculousness is what rubs them the wrong way, because without him even saying that this is supposed to be Erica Kirk, we all knew that this was supposed to be Erica Kirk.
It's matcha.
They don't like that.
And Bella will have all organic pop cup.
Organic?
Yes, everything organic.
Where's the offense? So Drewski's clumsily doing yoga. He's ordering a coffee at Starbucks. Where is the disrespect, really? Right.
Oh, are you good? 4.
And again, notice white women all in this video. Why weren't they worried about this? Why weren't they offended by this depiction? Right? Why weren't they offended by the fact that Druski was wearing this makeup? Why weren't they worried about offending people? It's because whiteface isn't real. Whiteface isn't a thing. What Druski is doing here is not whiteface doesn't exist. We're going to explain why in a second.
2. Hold your chest lifted. We're gonna lift.
We have to protect all men in America, especially all white men in America. Those are the boys that we care about in this country. America is built on their backs. Yeah,
that's the entire skit. That's the entire skit that got the entire MAGA party in a tizzy and has Jake Paul wanting to do blackface. So let me break down to you why whiteface isn't real, and why blackface is real, and why blackface is racist, and why Drewski dressing up as a white woman and putting on makeup to wear to depict having white skin is not racist. If we turn to the National Museum of African American History and Culture, we are given an article that gives us the history of blackface, right? Title: Blackface, the Birth of an American Stereotype. Historian Dale Cockrell, crazy name, right? Historian Dale Cockrell once noted that poor and working class whites who felt squeezed politically, economically, and socially from the top, but also from the bottom, invented minstrelsy as a way of expressing the oppression that marked being members of the majority but outside of the white norm. Minstrelsy, comedic performances of blackness by whites in exaggerated costumes and makeup, cannot be separated fully from the racial derision and stereotyping at its core. By distorting the features and culture of African Americans, including their looks, language, dance, deportment, and character, white Americans were able to codify whiteness across class and geopolitical lines as its antithesis. Or antithesis is how some people would pronounce that. The whole idea of a stereotype is to simplify. The first minstrel shows were performed in 1830s New York by white performers with blackened faces. Most used burnt cork or shoe polish and tattered clothing, who imitated and mimicked enslaved Africans on southern plantations. These performances characterized blacks as lazy, ignorant, superstitious, hypersexual, and prone to thievery and cowardice. Thomas Dartmouth Rice, known as the father of minstrelsy, developed the first popularly known blackface character, Jim Crow, in 1830. By 1845, the popularity of the minstrel had spawned an entertainment sub-industry, manufacturing songs and sheet music, makeup costumes, as well as a ready set of stereotypes upon which to build new performances, right? And isn't that crazy? Just to show you how racist the history of this country really has been, the fact that they created a set of laws to govern black people based on a character created for the sake of depicting black people in this negative light, right? Jim Crow, they named it after a fucking fictional character that was invented to make black people look bad. See, what you have to understand is that black people forever have been underrepresented in media. Many white people, still to this day, did not and still do not have any meaningful relationships or interactions with black people. And so what these shows did was help to create in the minds of white Americans all over this country a perception of who black people are and what black people are like. There were white people living in this country where their only impression of a black person, a true impression of a black person, came from these depictions of black people by these white actors who were donning blackface. And what this did was, of course, help them to believe, create the idea that black people are really like this. And although it is true that since the 1800s, black people have now gotten better representation in media and the workplace, there are still many people who walk around with anti-black sentiments and ideas in their minds. And so when you as a white person have been programmed to see black people in this negative way, in this negative light, and you are in a position of power, and you have the opportunity as a judge, for instance, to sentence a black person to prison, or you have the opportunity as a banker to give a black person a loan, right? Again, remember, all these portrayals were negative. They were portrayed as thieves and cowards, right? When you are in a position of power and you can influence the quality of life of a black person, but you have this negative perception of black people, well, then that is going to have a real and direct impact on how these black people are able to live their lives. This is why blackface was so detrimental to Black America and to Black Americans. Although, yes, it is true, black people have gone on to be better represented in media, there are still so many white people and just people in general who walk around with these negative stereotypes of black people, not based on their actual real world interactions with black people, right? They go to the store all the time and they're around black people if they live in a diverse area. And that 99.9% of the time, nothing bad happens. They don't get robbed. They don't get harassed, right? Black people are just minding their own business like most people are doing. But they have been trained by media. They have been trained by news companies like Fox News. They have been trained to be skeptical, to be wary of, to be scared of black people. Really, what this all boils down to is the fact that white people hold the grand majority of the wealth and the power in this country. There are more black people whose quality of life are being impacted in a real way based on the perception of black people by white people. This is not happening in reverse. And so there is no danger, there is no threat to white people when a guy like Druski does a harmless skit like the one that he did. There is no white person who is now going to be looked at more skeptically, who is going to be denied a bank loan, who is going to receive a harsher prison sentence, who is less likely to be hired for a job because of how Druski portrayed Erica Kirk. Why is that? Well, for one, most of the people in these positions of power are white, and so they know that what Druski is doing is just a skit. And even if it does reflect a small segment of white America, that is not all white Americans. But blackface did the opposite. It trained the people who were in positions of power to see black people in a negative light, which then leads to worse outcomes for black people. The quality of life of white Americans in America will not be impacted because of the perception of white Americans by black people. This is the point. The powers that be, the systems that have control over this country, they don't give a fuck about what black people think. This is what you gotta understand. This is why whiteface isn't a thing. White people don't have to worry about the way black people perceive them in regards to their outcomes in life, not at a systemic level. Even if you want to make the argument that Drewski's skit, which again was very harmless, but let's say Drewski was really trying to depict white people in this like horrible, terrible way. Is that going to make it harder for a white person to find a job? Is that going to make it harder for a white person to, you know, navigate the criminal justice system? No, it's not, because the people who are in positions of power are white. Furthermore, black people who are in positions of power are usually at least a little bit educated, and they have been indoctrinated with all of this media, this positive media that has showcased white people being the heroes in the story, white people being good people, white people being trustworthy people. And so there is a balance. There is a balance at play that will make sure that a black person would see this skit, and even if they say, oh, you know, some white people are like that, they know that not all white people are like this. Because, well, one, white people are the majority, and so most black people have interacted with white people and know that all white people aren't like this. And two, they have consumed so much media painting white people in a positive light that there is no way that one-off skit by a black guy dressing up as a white person wearing white makeup is now going to undo their entire perception of white people. So that's where the problem with blackface all lies. It all lies, and this is why they say black people can't be racist. Can an individual black person hold bigoted and backwards and unfair views about white people? Sure. But are those views going to negatively impact their lives? Almost certainly not. We live in a system that empowers and protects white people. That's the America we live in. That's the world that we live in. We live in a system that disempowers and doesn't protect black people. And so the danger and the damage that can be done when a popular white person depicts black people in a negative way in light of the history of all of the decades and decades of propaganda that has aimed to make black people look bad is a real threat to the quality of life of actual black people. That's it. It's not about the makeup. It's not about the fact that you're trying to make yourself look like a black person. It's about the real world impacts that can come as a result of it, especially when you do it for the sake of trying to make black people look bad. And this, of course, applies to other groups of marginalized people as well. Now, I know most of you watching this already understood this, but just in case there was ever a person who doesn't quite get it, I hope now you understand. The judges are white, the people who own the banks are white, the teachers are white, the people who are the chairmen of major corporations are white, the business owners are white, right? People in Congress are white, the politicians are white, the president is white, right? White people don't have to worry about being perceived negatively. At least not like this. Not in a way where their outcomes in life are going to be affected. But when you're a black person and you go to apply for a job and the perception of black people that that white boss has been shaped by media like this, well, that can actually have a real world impact on whether or not that black person will be able to feed their family. But that's the video, guys. That's the situation. You let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and until next time. Peace out.